this is Neil. In this tutorial we're going to look at chopping up a vocal and putting it into the sampler. So here's a vocal that I recorded from the internet earlier today.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres and other such social venues.
So a couple of ways of doing it. The easiest way to do it is just going to zoom out a little bit. So it's this sample here. It's just to control click on it and go convert to new sampler track. Choose transient markers instead of regions. Transient markers is each individual word, if you like, and then hit OK. And that's one way of doing it, and what that's done is put it onto the keyboard for me. Now if we double click and it's put it into a sampler, as you can see there's a sampler here already opened up, already made for you, but it puts it right down the bottom at C-2.
Avoid pubs,
and you can hear
clubs, theatres.
Each key is a different word. So on your MIDI keyboard, you have to do the transpose all the way to the left.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others.
And now you can see these dots lighting up.
And
that's me playing my MIDI keyboard.
Venue. So others.
That's one way of doing it. Okay, another way of doing it, so you can get a bit more accurate. If you want to be more accurate, is to do it this way. So that muted it when I did the previous version. So this is, we'll call this one samp version 1. Okay, so that's me just control clicking directly on the sample and saying convert to new sampler track and choosing the transient option. This time I've double clicked on it and it opens it up in the wave editor at the bottom, and if you go file and then come over to audio file and go detect transients, and that was because I had a little practice earlier. Now you can see that this is the void, so it's giving you two different samples, it's going to give you two different hits there on two different keys, and void. So if I press play,
avoid pubs, clubs, theatres.
Now did you notice here that it went pubs and the S here is a pub and an S? So you might want that, you might not.
Avoid pubs, clubs.
So do I want avoid or do I want it all to be one? So I'm double click there to get rid of that transient marker. I don't want the S to be separate from the clubs. Now what's this here? Let's have a look.
Avoid pubs, clubs.
That's the cl on clubs. So I think I'm going to keep that and not have the k separate from the lubs, if that makes sense to you. And I think that's the S from clubs. So just going to get rid of that. And I don't think I want these two separate words. Let's just have a check.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres.
That's theatres.
Pubs, clubs, theatres, and
theatres.
Other such social venues.
Now this might be interesting to have all these lots of different bits of words, so I'm going to keep that. But what's good about doing it this way is you can move these transients around. If you think you're not getting the full bit of a word, you can just be more accurate if you want to do it this way. So you're going to get to the same thing, but you've got more control over it doing it this way. And then when you're done, it's a case then of just control clicking on this again and going convert to new sampler track, another one. Okay, again transient markers, not regions, and go OK. This is going to give me a slightly different feel than the first one, because with the first one I've got, which was this one, I've got this little and a void there, but the void goes
void.
Okay, so I've got two, I've got and I've got void. Now what have I got on this one? Let's have a look, because I think I didn't want that avoid and I've just got
void.
I've got it all on one key there, so that was my choice. By doing it the second way, by double clicking and going in, I could have more control over it, and the first way is just quick fix. So I'm going to go for the second option here, and I think it's it.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres.
So that's me just playing around with it. Now let's put a bit of EQ on it, because it's like a voice, so let's EQ the voice.
Clubs,
you can
clubs,
see
club.
There's not much bass, so I'm going to get rid of the bass there.
Clubs.
I might
clubs.
Do a bit of that just to bring the voice closer to me a little bit. It sounds good with a stereo delay on it, so let's go for a stereo delay, which lives in delay, stereo delay. I'm going to do nothing to the stereo delay, just leave it as it is. I quite like that with the little whispers. And then a little bit of reverb. Now I've already set a reverb up on a bus. You guys know how to do this. So I've got my reverb. I've got an Abbey Road reverb, but you've...
Pub theatre and others.
Right, let's try that with a drum beat. See what we got going on. See what... No, I don't want to hear that. So I'm going to mute it. I'm going to Control M, mute that. In fact, I'm going to get these three out of the way for now. Just move them out of the way. So now I'm working with this one.
Avoid pub theatre clubs. Avoid pubs. Avoid pubs, club theatres. Avoid.
The different drum beat I think I want. Okay, so.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres. And clubs, others. Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres.
I'm going to try and record something in. I don't know. I'm going to go.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others, social venues.
That's what I'm going to go for. Right, let's try drop that in.
Others venues.
Right.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others.
I think I got that about right. Let's have a look. These are my notes down here. So I'm going to quantize them first of all. So Command A, 1/16, probably a decent quantize for this job. Let's just solo it with the click track. See how much time I'm in.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others venues. Avoid.
Now in with the drum beat, I think I can do a better job than that.
Avoid.
Move that along.
Avoid.
I think that'd be better there.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others.
I think I want two others there. See if that will. Or would it be there? I don't know. Let's just do that. So
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others venues.
That's what I want.
Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others. 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 Avoid pubs, clubs, theatres, and others venues.
That is chopping up a vocal and putting it into the sampler. So much more fun than just having a vocal sample. Cool, thank you.